Beyond! Whoa, that was loud.
Oh, God. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Roper, Editor-in-Chief of the IGN PlayStation team. Greg is here. Greg, introduce yourself.
It's me, Greg Miller, editor of the IGN PlayStation team.
Ryan, say hi.
Hey, it's me, Ryan Clements from the IGN PlayStation team, associate editor.
Jeff is unfortunately absent this week. He's suffering a illness at home.
Pneumonia.
He's getting slight, something that could have led into pneumonia, but he's doing better.
I can't breathe.
I talked to him yesterday and today, and he's doing better.
Can he breathe?
He can breathe now. He's off of whatever Darth Vader mask he had.
Okay. Our thoughts go out to Jeff.
Not really.
Oh,
well, we're thinking.
I got a lot of stuff to think about. Big shakeups.
You can spare a minute.
Lots of
for
things.
Mario
Jeff.
Kart, the GTA.
Well, yeah, lots. Yeah, there are lots.
Metal
of
Gears.
Man, yeah, lots of
Gear.
Metal Gear. Yeah. Let's get right on with it. It's time for the Roper Report.
It's time for some news. Oh, I miss Jeff.
Time for whatever.
Time for some news.
All right, so there's really not
Mine's
much.
better.
There's not much to talk about this week. The PlayStation Store had or on the PlayStation blog, and then consequently on our site, uploaded a video walkthrough of the PlayStation Store today, which just kind of shows you how it works. Whatever. It's basically what we had talked about last week, what we expected. It's all on the system, and you don't have a cursor anymore. You just kind of blip around like the Xbox Live Marketplace. But there are a couple cool things that they showed off in the video, though, they hadn't announced before, such as when you go to a game page, all the content's listed on one page, so you don't have to kind of browse by other stuff. But what's pretty cool is there's a preview button, so you can watch streaming videos for a game, so you can kind of see like a trailer if you don't know what a game's about, which is pretty neat. So there's that. That's coming out next week. Everybody knows.
Woo!
The MGS4 bundle was announced, I guess, today.
The limited edition.
Yeah, which everybody already knew about anyway.
Yeah, but now we know we have solid information on what's inside of it.
So if you haven't seen it, it's $85, which Greg and I, when we pre-ordered, and Ryan, you did last week, when we pre-ordered it, comes out to $92 even at GameStop.
Which is the only place to get this.
It's the only place to get this thing. It gives you the game plus an extra disc, which has two behind-the-scenes documentaries.
Two Blu-ray documentaries.
Yes, it's on a Blu-ray disc, and soundtrack CD, and then it comes in a cool case with art by, I don't know what.
It does not come in a little metallic Metal Gear, which I was hoping for, but
no. I was hoping for a giant metallic working Metal Gear.
Yeah,
that you could pilot.
I would have paid,
and it shoots discs.
I would have paid 10 times the amount to get that.
You would have paid $1,000.
I would have paid $1,000 to get a working Metal Gear.
Wouldn't it be? I'm bad at math.
Well,
it would have been less.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would round up.
You'd
to
round
1,000.
up to 1,000.
I'd give him the extra $80. I know it's a lot to ask, but I could see giving him the $80 for the Metal Gear, the working Metal Gear. And then the last bit of news is that the finally official analog control patch is coming for Lair.
Oh, finally!
Thank God.
I can't wait to re-review
Not that I care.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, we're not re-reviewing the game. We will have impressions on it though, so if you don't feel like downloading a 10 meg patch or whatever hell it's going to be. But anyway, so the news came out of Japan. So we had John Tanaka write about it. And so it's coming out of Japan on the 17th, which is the same day that all this other content's going up in the PlayStation Store. And it's supposedly it'll be around the same time, maybe the same day as a worldwide release. Just that's kind of assumed. So everybody's just assuming that on next Thursday when the new PlayStation Store is ready to go and Gran Turismo Prologue comes out and you can download the Metal Gear Online beta and all that kind of crap, that you'll also get the Lair patch.
Two things. One, you can hear me talk about DualShock 3 and this Lair stuff a little bit on X-Play tonight on G4.
Ooh.
But more importantly, do you think that all this stuff is going to crash this new PlayStation Store?
Absolutely. I have no. Okay, so let's go over the list of new content that will hit on that day.
Prologue.
And I'm talking,
Well, the store in general. I mean, you're gonna have to update your system.
The store in general, Prologue, which had 1 million pre-orders in the UK. That's for the disc, obviously, but it's gonna be a huge hit. People are gonna download it.
Metal Gear Beta.
Metal Gear Beta, which you can't play until the following Monday.
Yeah,
but
still, everyone's gonna download it.
You're gonna want to download it right away. Then there is
Lair patch, maybe.
Lair patch,
probably.
Which probably. And then on top of that is just the content we've been missing for the past 2 weeks since the store's been on pause.
Including all the Rock Band
Trailers,
stuff.
the Rock Band
songs,
stuff.
like the
Yeah,
Portal song will be on there. A bunch of demos for things will be up on there. So
Hill mentioned that there was possibly the Call of Duty maps are also going to go live.
Call of Duty maps
too.
might be on there. That's so
that's not for sure. I'm just
we're not for sure, but
guesstimating.
It seems like it will be. So there's a whole crap load of stuff That's
I
gonna be
mean,
needing-
I wish them luck, but man, that's a lot to do on your first day with the store.
Because you're talking the Metal Gear Online beta. I have no idea how big it is, but I'm just gonna say that it's
gonna
3
be
gigs, 2 gigs,
Yeah,
right?
that sounds right about right.
Prologue is about 2 gigs. So there's 4 gigs of stuff. Plus everybody's running firmware updates. Plus all the rest of the crap. It's a lot of
Ryan's it gonna work?
A lot of downloads.
I think it'll be a little slower, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's going to implode,
Yeah.
in upon itself. But
It's crashing. It's crashing like Wall Street. All right.
Recession.
But now, okay, let's suppose that you can't get online, and because the store isn't really updating right now.
Yep.
So you need to go to the store to buy some games.
Yeah.
What games are coming out this week? Greg,
Well-
can you tell us? You have any idea how can we learn about this?
I have a vague idea thanks to the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors. Riff. All right. Very small week. PS2 gets Arcana Heart and Baroque.
I think Baroque.
Baroque. I think it's
Baroque.
Baroque.
Yeah, Baroque.
All right. Thanks for checking in with the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors.
Man, that was good.
When's the wheel come out? I saw that GameStop says that's shipping.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what day
They
that's
also,
in
but then
stores,
they also say Iron Man's shipping,
yeah, which
is not true
yeah,
at all.
so we'll see.
Arcana Heart is good though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the pick of the week? Don't spoil it.
It might be. It's a contender.
Wait till the pick of the week.
Yeah.
And going back to the wheel, I'm pretty sure that the wheel is at least supposed to be in stores by the time that Prologue is out, which is out on Tuesday, and the disc version's out on Tuesday.
So it should be definitely around then.
Yeah, so you should be able to find it then. So there you go. Let's move on to let's talk about something. Let's pick a topic, shall we?
A topic of the
Let's.
week.
Topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
Oh my God.
Greg, I'll let you introduce the topic of the week since it was your idea.
This week is going to be video game marketing, as many blog readers know, Greg Miller blog readers know, and PlayStation 3 page viewers know. I went to a little event on Tuesday. I won't go into the nitty-gritty of this entire thing, but a couple weeks ago I'd gotten a cell phone in the mail, and there was no return address label on it, and so when I turned it on, it had some mission information on there that they were going to be picking me up and doing something crazy, and I should be looking for updates. And so this went on for a while, and then on Tuesday I got picked up by unmarked black car with some telephoto lens people shooting photos of me, and I got taken to San Francisco and had to follow a bunch of clues. And I got a briefcase and got all these crazy things, and eventually I made it over to an abandoned warehouse where I played Bourne Conspiracy for a while, which I am embargoed from talking about the game. But so then I left with the briefcase, and there was all sorts of Bourne Conspiracy swag in there. Is it swag or swag? It's swag, right?
I say
it's
swag.
I think it's swag with a schwa.
But see,
It's spelled SWAG,
but
right?
it's pronounced swag. See,
Yeah.
I always did it SCH.
Oh,
That's how I used to spell it. And then on
Don't
The Office
know.
that one time,
these are tricky.
Michael was like,
questions.
"Stuff we all get."
Speaking of The Office, I was going to
Tonight.
mention this later because it's a very important update. I should have actually put this into the Roper report. The Office is back tonight.
Okay.
Thank God. I'm going to mention this again at the end of the show just to remind
I can't
readers.
wait. While we're thinking of it too, when we come, let's do around the room and we'll talk about The Office there. And I have a Blu-ray question I need some help with.
Okay.
But yeah, so I went and played that game, left with all this crazy stuff, and I got back in the car, and I had this driver who didn't talk the whole way, keeping this whole mission motif together. And he finally goes, "All right, so what was in the case? What was going on here?" I'm like, "Oh, you didn't know?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, there's this Bourne Conspiracy game coming up. It's based on it's not based on. It's the same character as the Matt Damon movies, just to give him some kind of bearing on even though Matt Damon's not in the thing, it's reimagining, yada yada yada." And he's like, "Oh." And then he's like, "What was in the case?" I'm like, "Oh, MP3 player, new voice recorder, all this other crap." He's like, "Oh." And then he goes, "All that for a video game?" And it raises a good point, Ryan. What is up with video game marketing? It was a fun event.
Seriously.
Now, specifically, though, let me say video game journalism marketing,
Sure.
essentially.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah.
This is-
What
this-
we see is on our
Yeah,
side.
because most of this stuff, I mean, you put a blog post about this, but a lot of this stuff the readers and
Never
general
see,
public
yeah.
will never see. So it's all basically to get us into the experience of the game or whatever the point of it is.
Especially in this instance, I mean, I'm under embargo from talking about the game, but they made sure that I could talk about this event. So you figure there's still a good number of days before I can put up the preview of the game, but here we are talking about Bourne Conspiracy, you know what I mean? And that's a good move
Yeah.
on their part as far as having to fit into a larger Sierra structure of when they can let people talk about what. So I mean, that was definitely a good idea, but I mean, we go on all sorts of crazy stuff like this. Roper, You've been in this industry what, like 3 decades? What have you seen?
7 decades. I've
7
seen
decades.
I've seen some kind of crazy things. I once got picked up in a stretch Humvee limo that would fit about 40 people, and it was just me and Steve Butts, and we were just sitting there in the back, and we're like, yeah, there are some very odd events. What I'm kind of glad is kind of getting away from is people used to hold gaming events, which, as just a reference, usually happens when there's an event for a game or multiple games. People just rent out a warehouse or whatever, like you're mentioning for Bourne, and you just go to it, and then everybody's in one place, and you play the game, and then you leave. That happens a lot of times. Everybody just does the same thing at the same time. And I've been to events that were like on an aircraft carrier for, I think it was it was a Transformers game.
Oh wow!
On an aircraft carrier, but there was no there wasn't anything else cool. They didn't have like a model Transformer there. It was just on an aircraft carrier.
Did you get to play the game at all?
Yeah, we played the game, but I mean, and the aircraft carrier was out in the middle of nowhere. It took us forever to get there and back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I don't. That seemed to be no point whatsoever. And It was a pain in the ass because we had to go so far out to get to it. And luckily, people are kind of getting away from that and just kind of, hey, we'll just have it at the W in San Francisco, and you just go down. But there are some kind of stupid things like that. But but people will have events. Travel stuff is kind of cool when you go to a studio. So like I've been to Insomniac and that sort of thing. But sometimes also people have events in crazy locations. Like Sony had something for Uncharted in, oh man, I forget where it was, South America or something like that, somewhere last year.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Like Mayan ruins.
Yeah, something you could like climb the.
No, it was Incan.
Jeff went to Tomb Raider in Mexico City, right?
Yeah, he went to something like that. I mean, there's some pretty cool locations that people will take you to.
I know a lot of people on the blog about the Bourne Conspiracy event. It seemed to be a pretty good split of people saying, oh, that was a really cool idea, and advertising that game, or to get you involved with it or whatever. And then the other people were all like, they should have put that money into development. Why don't they save their money? Blah 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 blah.
Well, it's two different things.
Exactly.
So here's what happens: is development money is one thing, and then the PR marketing stuff is a different thing altogether. So some people will spend that money to just rent out a warehouse, and you'll just have people there, or they might have extra money, so they'll rent a aircraft carrier, whatever they want to do, or they'll rent out movie theater and have projectors or whatever going. So it's kind of based on whatever they want to do, and all sorts of things go into this cost, like transportation for people. If you have to fly some people somewhere, so they might say each one of your games you have $10,000 or whatever the hell it is. And if nobody has to fly, all of a sudden you got money to waste, and so you do things like hire photographers and stuff like that. So you just they just find
it's two separate budgets, right? I mean, it's not like they're
totally
siphoning
separate
off of their development.
No, it's
budget.
two totally separate budgets. The people that are doing that have no direct impact on the actual game thing. That the studios all still doing their own thing. This is the PR side. They're doing so that's the PR's job to do crazy stuff like this, and so. And I can see how it kind of does get a little confusing to readers, but it's if Insomniac has a crazy thing going on, it's not Insomniac that planned it. They might be there, but
yeah, exactly.
So there is that line, I guess.
So is the craziest thing you've ever done not the aircraft carrier?
No, man. See, my thing is I don't know. I've kind of lost it.
They launched you into space.
No, I've never been into space, which would be pretty rad. I mean, I've been to shooting ranges. I went to one for Black, and I went to one for, what was that? It was a THQ game on the 360.
SmackDown vs. Raw.
No. That would be pretty awesome if I went to a gun range for that game. But anyway, so I've been to a shooting range a couple times, and we did. And for that, I can't remember what that game is called. I really wish I did, but it's long out. They took us to a gun range, and then took us to the indoor. Air, it's sort of like parachuting, but it's like the indoor thing.
Where you jump into there's like a fan below you.
Yeah, it's a giant fan. And you float around. I don't remember what that's called. It's like the free fall inside the air room.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
Whatever it's called. Yeah. This is in Vegas.
Was it in Vegas? There you go.
Anything will happen there.
Yeah, exactly. So that one may be one of the crazier ones, and that was fun.
I totally forgot that I did that airsoft stuff for the SOCOM Tactics.
Yeah, there you go.
That was like your first week here.
Yeah, that was soon after, and they're like, you're going into this abandoned warehouse to play airsoft with Navy SEALs. Go.
I didn't go to this thing, but and again, I can't remember what game this is for because this was probably 4 years ago when this happened. But somebody was releasing a horror game and rented out a supposedly haunted mansion, and convinced all of these journalists to go to this thing, and basically said, stay here overnight, and then we'll come back in the morning and show you the game or something. And they were supposed to just stay in this mansion with like no lights or whatever was going on. They had candles, and they're supposed to just sleep on the floor. And I think most people were just like, screw this, and just left.
Nice.
But
Did anyone stay?
I don't know.
That game, Luigi's Mansion.
There it is.
Mario.
Yeah, but let's talk for a second about the usefulness of any of this stuff. I know in my in what I've seen, the shooting range stuff when I went to see, because the first time I did that was for Black, and that worked pretty well because Black was all about guns. And so they took us into the range, fired off all these weapons, and then went into the game and played them. And I was like, okay, I had fired guns before that, but it was the first time I got to fire like some of the high-powered rifles that were in there, and that was kind of cool because I had just fired them in real life, and now I'm playing them in the game, and so I have direct context.
Yeah.
And now I can write to readers and say, I've fired these weapons, and I know that this is accurate.
Yeah.
You know, and in those cases, I think those are few and far between, but sometimes it does work, and that was one where it actually worked pretty well.
Cool.
I think the Bourne thing was really here. My problem is that there needs to be a reward at the end of it, and they can't lose sight that you're there to do a game. You know what I mean? The Bourne thing for us on Tuesday was local, so I mean it was just down. It was a normal drive to San Francisco with like one stop to get the briefcase and fool around with the clue and whatnot. And then it ends with me playing the game for 30 minutes or whatever it was, which is fine. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And because sometimes you go to these events, and I won't name names and stuff, but you'll go to these really luxurious events where you go and you stay in this. They fly you away first off, so you're out of the office, so you're way behind on email or whatever daily duties you have here.
Yep.
And then you get there, and it's like literally you see the game for 20 minutes. There was one event I went to that was a week-long event, and we all went with a whole bunch of people, and so it broke down to where the IGN crew had like basically every person had a game to cover each day. And so you'd see the game for 20 minutes, and then you'd hang out at the pool or whatever, or go to your hotel room and stuff. Which on the one hand, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's it's like, oh, it's a vacation. But on the other hand, it's like, I'd much rather play that game for an hour, or I'd much rather, first off, you bring it up to my office, and I do 5 games for 20 minutes apiece all in one day, you know what I mean? So I don't have to go down there and do it. So as long as there's a payout at the end that makes sense to the time invested, I think it's fine. And I know people worry all the time about like, these events where they would skew your perspective on a game as far as objectivity and whatever, as far as them putting on games. But I think obviously for me, I've never had a concern about it because it's not gonna going anywhere, shooting a gun or doing whatever isn't gonna change it for me. But I mean,
yeah, there's never been anything even close to that on my end. It's like I think. What it benefits the PR side for more is
relationships.
Yeah, totally. Relationships is a huge thing, and you'll remember the game maybe later in the future because you'll be like, that game was associated with this event that I remember. Now I'm kind of hyped for this game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's on your head. When it comes to review time, you're doing it has absolutely no impact on that at all. But get you thinking about it maybe more often.
Totally.
And so maybe when if we're doing if we're talking about games in general, I might bring something up because I've been thinking about it more.
Exactly.
But
like we're talking about, if it's a cool event, we're talking about it right now. You know what I mean? That gets the game back in the tip of the tongue. So I mean, from that side, it's cool. But it's always I just want to play the game. I hate when I go to events and there is no game to play. You walk in or something, and it's just there's
absolutely terrible.
There's trailers on the screen. You're like, awesome, we have this on our site. Like, there's nothing here. I'll try to seek out the developer, talk to him as long as I can, and then just bail. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's actually some of these things are negative. Where, like I said, I went to the aircraft carrier and it was way out in the middle of nowhere. And I've been to events where you travel all this way. Sometimes you fly to another city or whatever, and then you see the game for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I took 2 days or whatever because I came in last night, slept there. Woke up early in the morning, went to some studio, saw the game for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just fly down and bring a build because that was a huge waste of time.
I think one of the best ones I've done so far is as far as setting it up like that was Sony's last year, Sony's Gamers Day.
Yeah.
Because we flew down there, we got settled in our rooms, and then we went out to the poolside dinner or whatever, and there were games everywhere. And they weren't even like demos of the game. It was like, hey, sit down, everybody can play Buzz. We have all these TVs. There's SingStar over there if you guys want to go hang out and play. Like it was like really you were at a party with your friends playing games, and it wasn't I mean, don't get me wrong; those were a lot. That was our preview time. That's when we did our preview. I did my preview on SingStar or whatever. I mean, but it was awesome to sit down and be able to play that experience. And then you wake up in the morning and we went to a hangar and got these presentations and then played all the games and then came back, wrote, and then came home. You know what I mean?
Sony generally does do events very, very well. I got to say that Sony's setup on a lot of that stuff was some of my favorites. Like when I had gone to Insomniac, which was when Resistance was coming out, that was like a 6-hour day or something. I don't remember how long it was, but it was like we talked to the art guys, we talked to the animation dudes, we talked to the programming team, talked to the sound guys, got a presentation from Ted, played the game for like 3 levels or whatever, did all this stuff. And that sort of thing where like you take your time to fly somewhere else and you see that much of the game and you're like, perfect. That was completely worth it. And then, or in the other events, like there's Gamers Day, they always have so many games there. Everything's on display. You can play almost everything. And it's very like relaxed atmosphere. They get you in the night before. You can take your time, whatever, get in there. And, they always do a very good job with all their events, I think.
Yeah. Definitely. Everything was spread out.
I actually like I sometimes like when, like I haven't been to a lot of the events obviously because I've only gone to a handful of them, but some of the ones that really stand out are actually the simplest, smallest ones just because it's nice and relaxed. You can just, even the bloggers lounge, as much as like that we had kind of already seen a lot of that content before, it was just nice. It was a relaxed atmosphere. All the games were there. You could go in, you could have a drink,
Casually
you can
play,
just play, talk to the PR people. Everyone's just sitting around, and I like those kind of atmospheres instead of everybody's running around and trying to figure stuff out.
There are some times where I've gone to see a game and because I've been to so many of these events where people spend so much money blowing all this stuff out, and I'll go to see a game that's a AAA title, and they just have it in a hotel room, and you go in there, and it's just on, like a 30-inch LCD TV, and it's just the box sitting there, and you just come in and you play it, and I'm like, is that the whole thing? Because not that I need anything else, but it's usually they throw more stuff around, they have whatever, and it's sort of sometimes when things are so minimalist, it almost kind of makes me think that maybe they don't care about it as much as I figured they would. Again, that also has absolutely no impact on how we cover the game or whatever. But it sometimes is a little disarming to not have this over-the-top thing for these games that are so huge.
I think it's one of those things where they sit down and they break out their budget on how they want to do it. If they could, they do. You can have this huge event, or you could break it down. Like Dark Sector was one of the ones where literally like every 3 months or so they'd have a hotel event where you went there. And personally, I loved it because first off, it gave me a personal relationship with the guy, Josh, who was their like D3 developer contact for the game, and who came in and did the podcast Beyond with us.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where literally you'd go in there and it would be like, me and a couple other guys, usually somebody from GameSpot or whatever, would be in there, sit in our meetings or whatever. And we'd talk to him while we played or whatever, and we'd go, well, this didn't feel right, or, blah, blah. And we'd be like, all right, see you later. And we'd come back, and he's like, all right, so we worked on that. Try it out now. I mean, like, it was one of those things where they actually listened to your you had those personal relationships, and you were in there, and you were having one-on-one conversations with people. You know what I mean? They were responding to you. So that was always cool.
Yeah, my favorite thing is always when you have somebody from the development team there that makes sense. If sometimes when just PR folk are there, you're like, okay, I saw the game and I played it, but I don't have anybody to talk to you directly about it. It's awesome whenever they have the actual producer, not even on the publisher side, but the producer on the development side there, or they have like the president of the studio or whatever's there. Those are like my favorite moments because you can actually talk to the guys that do it. You can ask them questions about it. They'll explain why things are this way.
Yeah.
I know. The few times that I saw Burnout Paradise leading up to release and Alex Ward would be around, I could say, why is something like this? And Alex would explain, here's why you can't restart a race or whatever. And I go, okay, I'm hearing it from you as opposed to some spiel that somebody else is turning around off of what he had said before.
Yeah.
So those are the cool times.
Definitely.
Yep.
Nice.
So marketing, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Toe.
Time for toe.
Indeed.
So that brings us to the end of the end of toe. So let's move right into mailbag.
Mail call!
It's a mail call after all.
J-Mail!
Male, female. Somebody wrote in a new one. What was what was that? Amalgamum? Was that the word?
I don't know.
No, maelstrom. I think it was.
Oh, that is a good one. Maelstrom.
Yeah.
Maelstrom?
Maelstrom. We got to put that one in there also. All right. Let's see. We got a fair bit of good ones. We got a classic one for the very end. I'm going to save that for the last one, which we got this morning. I love it. First one that we're gonna get to is from Deviant Boy, who says, "Will IGN's PlayStation team have a presence in home? If you could, what kind of stuff would you like to do for it? As opposed to, if you mean by presence, we're not going to have." They showed off like EA might have like a court thing where you play a bunch of games, whatever. We're not going to have anything like that. But certainly we're going to be on there every now and then. I think it would be kind of cool to set up something where, maybe once a week, sort of like you have the editor beatdown thing. Maybe once a week, lunchtime or whatever, we get on there and just, meet people for half an hour and answer questions or whatever, which would be kind of cool to do.
Definitely.
Maybe we could even do it. Maybe we could bring a TV in here into this closet that we're recording the podcast in.
Yeah.
And get on home while we're doing the podcast.
Oh, wow, that'd be cool.
That would actually be pretty neat and have people ask us questions in real time.
Okay.
And we could even then have our headphones on, so they're listening to the podcast being recorded in real time, and then answer questions as
blew my mind, Chris.
amazing.
Do we have
So
internet in here?
that is
we
pretty
do have
awesome.
internet in here.
I hope we have internet.
We
in here.
do.
We are an internet company.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much we don't have internet around this place.
Pretty awesome. So we'll do something cool.
Oh, we'll have presents.
Yeah. So one of the kind of cool things about it is it's meant for the community and kind of see what they do with it. So we're going to be doing experimenting of our own. So we'll see how that comes out.
I can't wait till we put up our own little Big Planet levels.
There you go. I'm seriously excited for that thing.
Yeah.
I know one thing that I want to do, and I'll just say this right now, is when we get the game, I want everybody on the team to make a level, and then we'll upload them, or put videos or whatever, since people won't be able to play them yet. But we'll put up videos and stuff, full walkthroughs of the levels that we create, and then have people vote on us and
See who has the best level.
See who has the best level.
It's not going to be me, but anyway.
And maybe so.
Yours will all be 2D fighter. It won't make any sense.
Yeah.
Be all anime girls.
Whatever.
The Daedric of the week. The Daedric Prince writes in, and he asks us a billion questions. But I'm going to pick one here, though. It's does anyone know if God of War Chains of Olympus will get a PS2 port, so PS2 and PS3 owners can enjoy the game without buying a PSP? The last that we heard is no, it is not being ported. And now that Ready at Dawn has said that Chains of Olympus was their last PSP game, it's sort of... I mean, maybe there could be a port there, but it sort of seems to me like they're moving on to new things. They're talking about working on new IPs and stuff. I think they're done. It doesn't mean that Sony
they
could
could
pick
just
it
chuck
up.
it out to somebody else. Couldn't they?
Yeah, they could, but I don't know.
I bet it will happen.
You know what the Daedric Prince should do? Just buy a PSP.
That's
It's like
what-
now is never a better time. It's just now you get a PSP Slim. They're great systems. It just feels good. I switch back and forth between the PSP Slim and the PSP Fat because I have a fat one in the office, and I have the Slim one at home, and it's like night and day now.
I have the opposite. I got the fatty at home, and I play the slim in the office. And the fatty's no good.
I think I lent my fatty to Ryan Geddes.
That sounds really weird.
Yeah, it did.
Geostar says, what games coming down the pipe are looking good for the PS3? I mean exclusives and multi-platform games. The answer to this one is very long.
Metal Gear, Resistance, Killzone,
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet, Lair Patch.
Layer.
Yeah, there's
Layer.
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo. There's every game.
Yeah.
Here's what's really cool
Ghostbusters.
is all of these big games that Sony specifically, and some third party stuff also, but all the stuff that Sony's pushing, all looks really good. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think that Sony has a dud in the works. I mean, we haven't played some of these games, but from what we're seeing and what we can kind of guess how if the game's going to wind up in the end, it doesn't look like Sony has a dud in their lineup right now. So
True. Echochrome.
Echochrome's cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait.
Huh.
Is that
a
the
dud.
other thing that's coming on the new store launch? Is Echochrome, or is that already available? I
It's
forgot.
not available.
It's
I
not
don't know.
available. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I thought there was one other game
We'll
that was
see.
coming out.
Maybe.
I thought there was some kind of content coming.
Maybe that's what I
Broken
was.
Mirror.
That's what it
That's
was.
the
I knew it was just yesterday. I knew I
Broken
was
Mirror's
missing
coming out
something.
then. There you go.
So
All right,
there's
we got it.
another reason why this
We've
store
solved
will
the riddle.
implode.
Bredesen
Jurassic
says,
Park.
first he says Beyond.
Beyond.
He says, Beyond?
Beyond.
Do you think Square Enix will have a big next-gen showing at E3 this year? Which, by the way, please call the PS3 current gen because it's been out for a year and a half.
It is confusing though.
Yeah.
I mean, then do we call PS2 last gen?
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
But it's still out too.
It is kind of confusing, but I think we call it old gen.
Oh, I like that.
So then you
Old
call
gen.
it so it's like Old Snake. So you have respect for it.
Yes.
But he's not quite the warrior that it was once. Do you think Square Enix will have a big next gen showing at E3 this year, or will it be mostly portable stuff? We'll have to wait for TGS to see games like Star 4, Last Remnant, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, Final Fantasy 13 Ketchup. They don't have their own, or do they have their own Gamers Day like some other companies do? No, they don't have their own Gamers Day, but people make up all stuff all the time, so I mean they always could. But I don't think that there's going to be a giant presence at E3 unless something is shown during Sony's press conference. E3 is not going to be as big as it was in years past, and it's kind of all, E3 is all screwed up these days. So these games that we're talking about here are big enough that I don't think Square is going to come out there on its own and show these off unless it's by way of Sony. And Sony could, during its press conference, show off a new Final Fantasy trailer, which would obviously be awesome. Everybody would see it and highlight it very well. That's, I think, the only way that we're going to see any of these things is via Sony's press
Sounds
conference.
reasonable.
So,
Yeah.
And I think it's only going to be in trailer form. I don't think these games will be playable anywhere.
Have they had big showings at previous TGSs in the past? I haven't been to any.
TGSs, they've had trailers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but,
They do love their trailers.
E3 last year was really disappointing for them. As far as next gen, I remember going down there and it was like, oh, Reverent Wings on DS, and which is a good game. I'm just saying, I was expecting a lot. A little theater room, there wasn't much going on.
Yeah. I Am Mackin says, question for everyone: what is your favorite game in the Metal Gear series?
You have to join in.
I don't know that well.
I'd still say 1. I mean, 2 had the gameplay and the graphics, but 1 had the story. And 1 is the first time I remember video games turning the corner for me, where I was like, I could see where this was going and how big it was going to be. As far as like, they can tell you an engaging story, and they can present it in a cinematic format, and they can compete with movies, and it could be a really great time.
Yeah.
For me, that was Super Mario Brothers 2. When the ending, when Mario woke up, and I was like, that it actually wasn't. Ryan?
1 is the only one I played all the way through multiple times.
Lame.
And I played 2, but I didn't beat it. So.
So you have no idea who the Patriots are or what 4 is about.
Got to get on that.
My only answer can be 1 because I have not yet played
You're working on
2
it.
or 3, but I am working on it. So up until recently, I'd never played any of the solid games. I played the originals, so I'm remedying that. I picked up the Essential Collections. I'm playing through the series.
Hell yeah,
so I finished 1, and then I have to wait for family to leave before I can start 2. But
Maybe
very
I should just
soon,
play
I'm
through all
psyched for
3
it.
of them.
You should.
And I
Before
gotta
4.
say, having never played the original solid game and having beaten it about a week ago, that game holds up pretty damn well for being 10 years old. Some of the presentation stuff, the giant polygonal pieces on arms. And some of the dialogue's really bad. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. But all the gameplay stuff is still fantastic, and the character stuff is pretty crappy. But the core story about all the conspiracy and all that kind of stuff, all that's still super engaging. And I was very sad every time I had to stop playing the game. So yeah, it's very very good. Yeah, but I'm happy now because I beat it.
Yay!
Are you going to get started on 2 soon?
Soon, yeah, as soon as my family leaves. We are not here yet. So about 2 weeks.
Whoa.
I know. I'm very sad about that.
have
W.
in-laws
Solomon 1 says, do you guys really think that Hideo Kojima used up a 50-gig Blu-ray disc, or is he over-exaggerating? I don't know why he would over-exaggerate.
I mean, he did say it didn't originally. They say that the multiple language tracks would be available, and then they said, "Oh, we don't have the space, so
yeah,
we
there's
won't."
no space.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that by the way of him saying that there's no space left, that means that there is no space left.
He wouldn't
yeah.
lie to us,
No.
except about release dates.
Yeah, that's it.
And I don't even know how much he has to do with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Konami's like, you're putting it out here.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll show you. And then he hides in a box.
It's in a box.
Smoking a cigarette.
I'm going to come to the office one day in a box, and then hopefully nobody will know that I'm here, and then people will start questioning stuff.
We have that big TV box in the hallway.
Yeah, they just put a new TV in the break room, so I'm going to get in that.
Mike has a theory that
I love how we call him Database Mike. It's the greatest thing ever.
Database Mike has a theory that the entire Solid Snake and everything encompassing him is actually just an autobiography of Hideo Kojima when he was young or something.
Huh. I think we should bring Database Mike in on next week's podcast.
Yes,
and have him as a
yes.
special
Yes, we
guest.
should. He likes PlayStation a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Database Mike.
He's a funny guy.
He is funny.
We should bring him in here.
Yeah. SV Tracer 0587 says, seriously, Chris, how do you download damage into GT5? If you download damage, wouldn't that mean the cars in the game have already been modeled both intact and in pieces, and this DL damage thing just activates it? So as we mentioned last week, in an interview with Kazunori, he said that they're working on adding damage to the game, and that we could see it as a download for Prologue as early as this autumn or fall or whatever it is. So it is not in the game right now in absolutely no way, shape, or form. So there's two ways that this could happen. Either number one, you download a giant patch, although Prologue only has 70 cars in it in the U.S. So only. Yeah.
There's only 70 cars.
So you could download damaged model versions of each of those cars. It would be a pretty huge patch. Or the whole thing could just be created on the fly with physics, and it could just basically be an engine update.
Which you think is more plausible, correct?
Well, here's the thing: is if it's an engine update and the parts and stuff crumble on the fly, kind of like Burnout or whatever, all of a sudden the engine and whatnot would need to be modeled. So there's going to need to be some sort of object update. I'm guessing that it's going to be real time. I'm guessing it's going to be real time deformation if they put it in there, because Polyphony doesn't do things half-assed, which is why there's never been damage before. At some point, Kazunori was like, yeah, if I'm going to add damage to a game, that means I have to model every single piece of the car so that when it breaks, it's absolutely 100% realistic. So I don't think they're going to do it in any sort of fake way. But maybe they just sort of had to kind of give up and say, well, we'll add it in this way. But somehow it will be downloadable.
Maybe it would be like those old Hot Wheels where you'd hit them and then like it would just flip over.
Oh, yeah, those things were awesome.
I know, they were rad.
Except that, you know what I didn't like about those cars?
What's
is
that?
some of them only had the front, some of them only had the back.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this car can only get into a rear-end collision.
I was like, yeah, I want to decapitate somebody. How do I fix the
Exactly.
roof? Can't do it.
Stone Cold. I guess it's supposed to be Stone Cold, but
Yeah,
whatever.
with an accent.
Yeah, who knows?
Stone Cold.
Says, do you guys think that someday we'll be able to download full PSP games on the PlayStation Store for play directly on the PS3, like the PS1 downloads? Seems like a no-brainer. So he wants to know, can you download PSP games to play on the PS3?
Well, he wants to know if we can do that. If we think that'll happen one day.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to wait. Sony's not going to do that until they're happy with the positioning of the PSP. Because right now it's the same thing everybody's asking when God of War Chains of Olympus is getting ported.
That's the problem.
We'll stop being cheap by the PSP. That's what Sony's response is.
I think that this will start happening. It'll get more and more likely to happen as the PS2 continues to fall off more and more, and you have more people on PS3.
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen is you have less people even having their PS2 connected anymore, and so the ports that they use to make extra money off those games won't be viable as much. So instead of porting them to the PS2, they'll essentially port them to the PlayStation Network.
And you figure by that point, you're already 5 years into the PlayStation Portable life cycle, maybe. I mean,
and then
you've kind of made your choice already. Yeah.
I think it's definite once PSP2 is out.
Yeah,
I think it's a no-brainer. Jeff Ranzaroop says, what are your expectations for Infamous? Do you think it will be better than Prototype? On the one hand, Sucker Punch has had a long time to work on this and only has to worry about one console. But on the other hand, Free Radical has experience with this genre.
It's a tough question.
It's very tough.
Because we all love Sucker Punch, and we all loved that trailer.
But we've never seen Prototype.
No, we've never seen.
Or sorry,
Infamous. This happens all the time. It's such a confusing thing.
So
I've seen Prototype, and it looks great. I mean, it looks like so much fun. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah. So Infamous is the giant question mark.
Exactly.
Greg Miller's seal of approval.
No, I don't go that far yet.
I have a whole lot of hope for Infamous. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean they're great. I mean, come on, the Sly Cooper games are great. So I mean, there you go.
I think it's gonna be cool. But there's a whole lot of stuff that's similar between Prototype and Infamous, but you can't compare them yet because we haven't played Infamous.
Mm-hmm.
So, or we haven't even seen it in motion. Actually, we just saw the trailer. So who knows?
That's all drawn by hand in real time.
Maybe we'll have a better guesstimation by E3. Maybe we'll see some Infamous at E3.
Smells like extreme pizza in here.
It smells like extreme pizza.
I wish we had extreme pizza.
Man, so do I. I'm hungry.
Let's expense some.
Okay.
You're the boss.
Pseudoprime 1979 says there can be only one. We have to choose only one. Each one of us will choose it.
Yeah, Ryan. No waffling. Come on.
Yeah,
GT5 Prologue, Metal Gear Solid 4, or Grand Theft Auto 4, and why?
Okay. You starting with me?
And then there was silence.
I will go first. I'll bite the bullet first. As much as I love Gran Turismo, I can't pick Prologue. If this was not Prologue, it was the full Gran Turismo, this would be a way different question, but I'm going to immediately disqualify Prologue. Also, I've played through it like 3 times. But, oh, man, I've been thinking about this just as I'm trying to go to sleep and in the shower and random bits, and I have nothing else to think about, is Metal Gear Solid versus Grand Theft Auto. On the PlayStation poll the other day, I put up, which one are you more excited for, MGS4 or GTA 4?
What's the poll?
The poll was something. Last time I saw it was like I don't want to click and then kill the podcast.
Mess up.
But the poll was edge towards Metal Gear.
Okay.
There was like a 15% difference or something. It wasn't huge, but it was notable. I'm gonna have to. Well, so I haven't played 2 or 3 yet. for Metal
True,
Gear. So
true.
I'm working through those, and so that would change my opinion. But I don't know, man. Right now, it's a really close call. I'm kind of sort of more excited for Metal Gear because I know that GTA is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everybody's been playing that game in like 2 weeks now. And that maybe, to me, says, okay, it's here. I don't need to anticipate it as much because I've always got it. I don't know. That's basically a coin flip for me.
Question.
Pick one. I'll just go ahead and pick Metal Gear, but it's very slim margin.
I guess I would only pick Metal Gear because I have liked the Metal Gear as much as I kind of didn't follow the Metal Gear franchise as much as like hardcore fans like Greg did. I liked it more than the GTA series. So I would pick Metal Gear, but at the same time, then you're not getting any of the what I assume to be awesome multiplayer elements that are going to be in GTA, which people have been talking about and seem to have a really good time with. So I think it depends on if you're like, I want a really good single-player experience. I think Kojima is going to deliver one of the most powerful, emotional stories been told in video games in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just like, I love multiplayer online stuff, then there's no reason why you wouldn't go with GTA. But I think I'll pick Metal Gear.
Okay. Hold on to your hats. I'm picking GTA 4.
Oh my God!
And I could write a 20-page paper on this, but I'll do it as fast as I can. I've always been a huge GTA fan as well, and I'm talking back from original GTA. I'm looking down at the freaking screen, killing Santas and Elvises. But the problem was that GTA 3 came out and it was amazing, and I loved it so much. And then I found that I was excited for each additional release, but it was always a little bit less. You know what I mean? So it was always like, oh, San Andreas is coming out. I can't wait to get it, but if it didn't come, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'd get it and I'd play through and I had a lot of time, but the excitement kept going down. And then I played GTA 4 for a hands-on, and it blew my mind. Like, it was so good, and it got me so I'm so reinvigorated for that franchise. Like, I can't wait. Like, we're so much closer now to it, and I'm like freaking out about it, like trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. Am I gonna have my TV in time? What's gonna happen? If Xbox shouldn't die, what's gonna happen? I mean, so on and so forth. That's right. I want achievements. And the problem with Metal Gear is that I love Metal Gear. Everybody knows that from listening to this podcast, that I'm a huge, huge Metal Gear fan. But it is a ways out still, and I have never played it hands-on. I've never had the chance to actually play it and see how it feels and do stuff like that. So I think that's one of the reasons pulling back, along with the fact that I'm not 100% sold on fighting in the Middle East. Like, war games always seem to kind of pull me back a bit. I'm like, like Call of Duty or whatever. As much as I do play those, still, it's not my scene, really. So I always liked the stealth espionage. I'm sneaking into something, doing something. And, I mean, obviously, that's still a huge part of this game. So I'm sure I'll love it and everything
Jeff
else.
did say that it wasn't always that kind of Middle Eastern color palette, though, I think, in his hands-on, right?
And, like, that's the thing about it. I know you know how Kojima is. He's showing us what he wants to show us. When we get that game, it'll be completely different and whatever. But as of right now, with GTA so close, I'm more excited for GTA right now, and that's what I want to play.
Gotcha. Derek Hall says, I was wondering, with Home and the inevitable cross-media bar, which exists, but I'm guessing you're talking about the update, is Sony basically redoing their entire online aspect to compete with Xbox Live? And if so, do you think this will be an incremental update or a massive one? Why am I feeling like Sony will keep this fairly quiet?
Because they keep everything quiet.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be one giant update that fixes everything. I think it's going to be in steps.
THX soundbite, remember?
Yeah, that's what we talked about before. Yeah.
Oh, that didn't do that. That wasn't quite how I was thinking it, but
yeah, we talked about
It's
this.
the annoying noise ever.
This was what, last week that we talked about it?
Yeah.
The week before. Yeah, so we went over this, but yeah, I don't think Sony's going to wait and just do it all at once. It's going to be
in pieces. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Exactly.
Baby steps to the elevator.
But yeah, I mean, Sony kept the PlayStation Store redesign pretty tight, and then came out and nobody was really. I mean, everybody knew it was coming, but nobody knew it was coming when or what it would look like. So, I think they can do that with a lot of their other updates, which would be pretty cool. And if they can, with the store update, from what we've seen, it looks like they're actually maybe doing it slightly better, not massively, but slightly better than what Microsoft is doing with the marketplace. Maybe they'll have cooler features for each of the other things they got to fix, like voice chat and friends list and stuff. So
I feel like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like the new PlayStation Store, based on that walkthrough video that we saw, I feel like that's going to be easier to navigate than some of the stuff in Xbox Live. Because sometimes when I go in there, I'm like, okay, where do I start to find content for this game? Like, it's just like...
I try to find, like, old themes or something like that.
It's weird. And with this, it's like this, you just got that one main hub, and then everything seems to be sorted together very,
And it's sorted out
pristinely.
by
and
games, right? That's what we're saying. Titles. Yeah,
and
that's
then,
awesome.
and it sorts like all the wallpapers, themes, downloadable stuff all in one place for a game.
Yeah,
which I think is
Sony's
smart.
advantage here is the fact that they're late to the party because when Microsoft launched the 360, the marketplace was already built in there, and they said, okay, we're going to have themes and demos and downloadable content and gamer picks. And then it grew exponentially over how it started, and they weren't quite ready for that amount of content. They hadn't had that kind of foresight. But now that Sony has seen it and says, okay, that their content outgrew the way that they organize their store. Now we can kind of fix that and take a slightly different organizational approach and make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So they have that was an advantage to them. Dr. Danger writes in and says, on that note, which I don't know what note he's talking about.
It was I cut. He was referencing something else, and I cut it just because it was pointless for us.
Do you want to recap what the point in this part was?
I didn't read it.
Damn it.
Well, I skimmed over it and saw he just quoted
Okay.
someone else.
Anyway, he says, is anybody an avid fan of the Gran Turismo series? If so, do you guys have wheels that you play on? For example, the hefty $300 G25 or plain Driving Force Pro? I'm a massive Gran Turismo fan. I say it almost every single week.
Thanks for listening, Doc.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
That's what I commented on earlier.
We have a G25 in the office. I have a Driving Force Pro at home, the one that was for GT4. We have a G25 in the office. That thing is awesome, except for the fact that the gear shift is loose. It doesn't, if you're in a real car and you shift from first to second and then you go to third, the car kind of makes you go into third instead of first. And in this, it's kind of like you have to manually move over to go up there. You could just as easily shift to first as you could third. So that's kind of weird. So I'm not sold on that part of it yet. I've been playing the game with the new wheel. I can't remember the name of it, but the
Super
new,
Deluxe wheel from Thing.
yeah, but the new Logitech wheel
Super
with the
Deluxe.
Wheel from
with a little orange deal, and you can change the brake bias and all that kind of stuff. And that thing is really sweet. It doesn't have the gear shift; it's just a sequential shifter, but it's pretty rad. So yeah, that thing's cool. Go get it if you want a wheel.
Yay, GT.
Yes.
Hey.
Super Skill 3, Skyle, whatever his name is. Are we going to see or hear anything from Naughty Dog about their next project at E3 this year?
Ooh.
And what do you think it will be if we do? Uncharted 2, Jack 4,
Ooh.
or there's the combat game, racing, whatever, or a new IP. I think we're going to see a teaser. I think we're going to see a teaser at the press conference.
For Uncharted 2 or a new IP?
Something. I haven't answered that part
I
yet.
would say no new IP. I'd say it's either going to be Jack or Uncharted, and I would lean more towards Jack. I'd say they're going to take.
I agree with this statement.
Yeah, they'll take the Insomniac approach.
I think Uncharted has been too close to its release. I don't think they have had enough time to work on that. Obviously, they're going to make a second game. The first game is success in every way. But I think there's going to be another Jack, and they're going to announce that at E3.
God, I gotta catch up with those games too.
Lots to play, man. Thorjarl, whatever. I can't pronounce any of these readers' names. None of them make any sense. What are the chances for GTA 4 to get delayed until Christmas?
None.
Negative
Slim and none.
10.387.
Whoa,
That's the answer.
big time. That's my cholesterol.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeshai08 says, do you think the Wiimote ripoff rumor about Microsoft means that Microsoft is bowing out of the fight with the PS3 and taking the Wii head on? What do you think Sony should do if 360 gets a Wiimote? Do you even care? Lol. So in case that people haven't been following this, and if you ignore all Microsoft stuff, so there's rumors now, FCC filings, all this other kind of stuff, that Microsoft is going to have, these are pretty strong rumors, actually, and they probably are correct, that by the end of the year, Microsoft's going to release their own Wii Remote ripoff. Looks the same sort of thing.
Waggle.
You waggle it, whatever. But it's got an analog stick on the top and the 4 buttons. So you have more buttons stuff on the top, but it's the same. It's a stick that you point at the screen, and they're going to want to use it for more casual gamers, whatever. I don't care what they do with it. It's not going to take over the normal controller. It's going to be to use in certain games, whatever. There were rumors that Sony was going to make one of these things for the PS2 for a long time, and those things seem to have died off. Which I didn't think was ever going to happen anyway. Microsoft obviously is never bowing out of the fight with Sony for the PS3. That's their thing. Microsoft right now is competing with the PS3, but not directly with the Wii, and they want to have that direct competition. So now that's why they're adding it in. So they're not running away from anything. They're taking Nintendo on head on.
Good move or bad move?
I think it could be confusing.
I think it's a dumb move.
Yeah.
I think
No
it
one
is
is. My mom is the woman who saw me play, saw the Wii, played the Wii, wanted a Wii, got a Wii. Like she's never gonna come over and see us playing with the Xbox and want to go buy an Xbox.
It's a very tricky water they're coming into. They could have some cool games for it. You could make like a Viva Pinata game that used it well.
That's all you do is pinata.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft could very easily come up with a bunch of games that use it really well, and it could be pretty cool. And they'll probably have more good games than the Wii does. Who knows? I mean, they could, if it was supported correctly. I don't question that part. The part is that, it's this really divided audience. You have these guys that are playing Halo and Gears of War, and then people that are playing Viva
Wii Sports still,
Party,
yeah.
like a Wii Sports type game. Viva Pinata
Party
Sports,
okay.
Something, whatever it was called. I think that's too divided. And to get the people that are playing Gears of War to go buy the remote to work with some other game, I don't know.
No,
I think if they package it with something and you have a $50 game that's really good and that hooks everybody, and when you play it, and then you sell to the people that are already buying all these other games, and bless you.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's dying. So if they come out with something that's sort of like the Wii Play but for the 360, but good instead of crap, then you can sell the unit and get people to start playing it. But like they have seen it, and that came with the remotes, and that's not overly expensive. I think it's the same price as a regular game. So that it worked well in that case. But you basically need to give it something to come out. You can't just sell it by itself in the store and expect people to buy it and go buy a game for it.
I think the 360 is generally more for like hardcore players, and then on some occasions, like with the downloadable games and stuff, they try and tap into the casual market. But one of the reasons the Wii works so well is just because it has a low price point for the entire system itself, which is why casual gamers are just like, hey, let's just get a Wii, let's just pick one up, let's play some Wii Sports. But with this, it's like, hey, let's just get a 360. I mean, it's like, I think it's what's the official price for it now? Is it $350 or did they drop it again?
It's $350.
It's still $100 more, and then you would have to buy whatever their remote is on top of it unless they package it together. I just don't think that it would tap into the casual market as much as the Wii is doing.
Yeah, so tying this back into the Sony perspective on this thing, I don't think Sony should ever try to do something against it like this.
No.
Sony's got enough.
The 6-axis is already...
Yeah, so Sony's got the 6-axis. Sony has enough other peripheral type stuff like the Buzz games, and you got SingStar with the microphones. You don't need another peripheral going out there. Sony should just sit where it is, let Microsoft do some stupid crap and see what happens. Yeah. I don't think it's going to go all that well. I think it'll be like an okay success if it works at all, but I mean it could be a terrible failure.
I predict epic fail.
Yeah.
Do you think the Sony executives are just sitting there like,
well,
in their offices?
I will practically guarantee you that as soon as they figure this out, if they weren't doing it before, they're prototyping stuff and they're on paper sketches at least, and then it's got to be somebody sitting there saying, should we make this or not? And I think they have to just say, no, we should never make this because it's going to be stupid. And then also, the other thing too is Microsoft at this point looks like they're trying to catch up to Nintendo, which is kind of dumb because aside from the fact that the Wii has the motion controls or whatever, the 360 beats it in every possible way. It has a hard drive, if you don't buy the stupid system, it has, all this other kind of stuff. It's hardware-wise, it's a better system in every way. And so if it looks like you're like, oh, we have to go down to the lowest common denominator to sell to casual players, that's very weird market crossover. And Sony needs to just stick up there with, hey, if you have a ton of money, buy a PS3 and buy all these cool games for it.
Yeah.
So
make use of your huge
not
HD
even
TV.
not even that much money anymore for $400 now. That's certainly not as unreasonable as $600.
I mean, but when Sony came out, obviously they were targeting the people with tons of money, willing to work an extra job in order to buy the system and wanted to go into 4D space or whatever the hell.
Stupid quote Sony did when they freaking brought that thing out.
And I haven't seen them change their market stance. I mean, obviously the price has gone down, but they're not changing. They're not trying to sell the PS3 to kids yet. So. It's still to like the hardcore audience, and when it comes down to price, they'll do that. And they shouldn't try to run out and use some stupid Wiimote thing to have that happen. So
I was in Target, like this was maybe like a month or so ago. Target, excuse me. It was like a month or two ago, but it was relatively recently. And I just remember that I was in the video game section, and there was a group of little kids, and they were like, "Oh man, the PS3 is where it's at. We gotta get the PS3." And I was just like, "Oh, you go, little Jimmy." I didn't actually say that or put my hand on his shoulder.
Are you Plum Clements?
Plum. That is me.
Oh, that brings us to the end of. Oh no,
The golden.
It's on. It has its own sheet. I almost forgot about it.
I did print it out special just for you.
I gotta tell you though. I can show everybody else in the room this. Here's how I highlight stuff. I highlight all of the words. It's clearly in there. It's like bold highlight on all the words.
Yeah.
Ryan's highlighting for this question they printed out is like he just kind of scribbled a line over. It's looks like somebody dropped their magic.
In my defense, I was trying to get you to
drop that marker.
In my defense, I was trying to get you to pay attention to the fact that I was putting the sheet down. You weren't listening. So like, while it was like balanced on top of your keyboard, I was just like, here, this is the question,
Okay.
and I like highlighted it.
All right.
Because you were just like at your computer, like.
Ryan's typing with his head down
Yes.
at his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
So this question comes from Morris.
The
who
cat?
Apparently,
Which is
his
my
name is just Morris.
my stepfather's last name.
He
but
apparently,
in no relation.
according to his email address, which I'm not going to read because I don't want people spam me, but he apparently is a Mac Incorporated store, but through Yahoo somehow.
Okay.
And,
So it's macinc@yahoo.com.
Not quite, but that's not too far off. But anyway, he says, subject is your response, please. PLS. The body says, dear seller, kindly quote me on PlayStation 5 pick. I hope to read from you. Thanks. Sony has not yet announced the PlayStation 4. Well, not for a couple years. I don't imagine they're working on the PlayStation 5 yet. I can't quote you a pick, and I don't think you're going to be reading from me. So.
Oh, Morris.
It's just
no respect.
nothing in that even makes any sense at all, except the word PlayStation. There's nothing accurate about that.
Is that? Oh, it's not capitalized at all. I was going to say if you intercapped it, that'd be amazing. But yeah, no.
There you go.
There's the end of the mail.
Mail call.
The mail is done. The mail is done. The mail is
you
done.
mentioned that you want to do around the room today.
Yeah.
The mail
Let's
is
do it.
done.
Shh. So here's my around the room question. You might be aware that I wasn't shushing you. Sorry, I was just getting into character. Juno comes out next week, and I am in a dilemma. Should I buy it on DVD or Blu-ray?
Is it coming out on Blu-ray?
Yes.
Because I got fooled into thinking that There Will Be Blood was coming out on Blu-ray, and it's not, and I'm very
Oh
sad.
no, you were so excited.
It was pretty awesome to see Roper freak out at Target. Whoa! And he pulled out the iPhone. Oh, and he had the whole scoop on what happened in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was looking around in video games. He came back. He's like, "All right, I just read a thing." Said, "Wow." Oh my God. Okay, great.
Well, whenever I'm in Target and they don't have something or the price seems high, I go on there and I just Google, or I go to Best Buy and search for it and see how Best Buy competes.
Yeah.
Then I'm immediate price shopping comparison.
That's
right in the middle
look
of
at
the
the
store.
internet.
That's how you do it. That's why people.
iPhone.
That's why people will never put openly available internet terminals in the middle of their store.
Yeah.
Except for unless you're a computer store and you want people to use the computer. But if nobody's going to put an internet thing inside a Target for you to shop their web, because if you can go to another site, you're going to find prices that are lower than Leave, which I did with the phone.
On that same trip to Target is when I saw that FYE is having a Juno giveaway where you buy the Juno, I guess on either, and you get a pregnancy pen. It's a pen that looks like a little pregnancy test. So I'm totally doing that. But the question is, Blu-ray or DVD? The holdup is that, of course, I have the PS3, my Blu-ray player in the living room, and a regular DVD player in the bedroom. I imagine most times I'd want to watch Juno. Well, first off, is Juno something that's really going to benefit from high def? Roper?
I haven't seen the movie yet, although I do want to watch it.
It's just people.
Here's my perspective. This is why I did not buy There Will Be Blood on DVD.
Uh-huh.
I'm forward. I'm not going back. I'm
not
always
going
going forward. I'm looking 5 years down the road from now when I've got a 900-inch 1080p set and DVD will look like crap on it.
True.
And I got to say, I got some early DVDs right now and I can't watch those things because they look like crap and I'm used to high def now. Everything that I buy has got to be in high def, and it's not even for right now because there's some really good looking DVDs. I have a 42-inch plasma at home, which some DVDs look comparatively good to Blu-ray on there. But when I eventually get a bigger TV and I've got the 1080p going or 2K resolution eventually in the future, I want to make sure I've got that on my movies. I don't want to have to buy them again. Okay. So I'm all Blu-ray or nothing.
Brian, what's your opinion on my subject?
I think I'm a little more in your case where if the movie doesn't seem like it's going to highly benefit from HD, I would just buy the DVD. But yeah, if you can afford the Blu-ray, I don't see there's really no reason to get the.
All right,
Man.
I'll buy the Blu-ray.
There you go.
If it comes with the pregnancy pen.
That's the good move.
I'm already shopping at FYE, so I'm going to get raped on the price.
Yeah.
God, but still.
You're paying an extra $15 to get the pregnancy pen.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
For your
If anyone out there
endangerment.
right now works at a place that produces pregnancy pens, we will gladly get some IGN Podcast Beyond pregnancy pens.
That would be scary, actually. I don't know what that would imply. but-
Well, then you could click it, and then M would mean no pregnancy, and Beyond would
There
be
you
your
go.
preggers.
Huh, very good.
Oh, that was disturbing.
Was that our Around the Room segment?
Oh yeah. Ryan, are there any DVD, Blu-ray conundrums you're locked in?
No, not really.
You playing anything for
Oh,
fun?
I'm really waiting for the anime industry to like decide when they're actually all going to start going HD because there are only a couple huge like films, like feature-length films that go to HD. Some of them went to HD DVD. Maybe some of them went to Blu-ray. But yeah, otherwise the industry as a whole, like television series, anime series are usually around 26 episodes for a standard length series. It's not. A lot of them are still on DVD, and I'm wondering what's holding people up on that.
Production
We'll
cost, I
soon see.
think.
Yeah, I guess it's the anime series. Anime industry does make a lot of money. I mean, it's profitable. I don't think it's like failing or anything. It's doing fairly well right now.
Yeah, but I wonder if the profit is because it's so cheap to make DVDs, and if you go to Blu-ray now, all of a sudden you cut that profit down.
Yeah, it's possible.
So, and then also you're talking to smaller audience and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do pick of the week.
Pick of the week!
Whoa. I'm gonna go with Arcana Heart.
Arcana Heart.
Yeah, because the other option was what, Baroque?
Baroque.
All right, I'll pick Arcana Heart, whatever. It's got that girl in the jelly ball.
Yeah, the autonomous blob. She controls.
Then the
giant.
sister has her sister's corpse attached to her that she freaking fights with.
Well, it's not. It's a puppet.
Ooh,
It's not a
gross,
corpse.
limbless corpse.
She drops it out of a suitcase.
It's a puppet. It's not a corpse.
Gross.
I like to think of it as a corpse.
Me too.
She has the consciousness of her dead sister either contained within herself or the puppet. So that might be what you're thinking.
God.
This is
gross.
too. That's too crazy for me.
Yep. Hey, you're about to play Metal Gear, so you better get ready.
No,
for
that's
craziness.
different. I can deal with that. Corpses being kept inside of a case.
There's no corpse.
Put down and Bubble Girl.
It's a puppet.
Bubble Girl.
And they're all like 12.
I mean, Bubble Girl
14.
Bubble Girl defies the laws of physics. She's in this gelatinous blob that she can somehow manipulate to go around with her and then turn into a fist or whatever she does to fight people. That's crazy. I can't deal with that.
magic.
Kojima would never be that crazy. I have faith in that. He's not that psycho. I know it's going to get crazy, but it's not going to be a gelatinous ball of girl floating in the top and fighting with a fist.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any gelatinous
Just
blobs.
wait till Meryl shows up in Metal Gear Solid 2.
She's just commanding a blob.
She's in a giant blob. That's what I was going at. I wasn't saying
Yeah.
anything really spoilish.
I know. It's going to be good. We're going to skip editor beatdown because we're still working on the details on how we're going to do that.
No, we're done, I think, aren't we?
Are you? Or is it going to
ready.
be editor
Tomorrow,
beatdown?
right?
Let's hear it then.
Tomorrow you are going to play some golf.
Yeah, we are. Hot Shots Golf,
Continue
baby.
on.
Just look for details on the blogs.
What time
and
you want to do
on
it tomorrow?
The boards.
The boards. What time you want to do?
Tomorrow.
What time you want to do it tomorrow night there?
I don't know.
Snake?
It's just like later in the evening is fine. Not too late, obviously,
I'd
because
like to-
Friday
yeah,
night we're all.
Exactly. I want to do it in the
It's
office.
banging.
What about like 6:30? Is that too early?
Oh
Pacific
yeah,
Standard
you want to
Time?
do it in the office?
Yeah,
That'll be
well,
easier.
Like I said, my eyes bleed when I play it at home.
Okay, we'll just do that then.
All right, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
Roper, you reviewed Hot Shots Golf there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I was fooling around with online today to see how we can set all this up. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can only have 8 players in a match.
Yes.
Okay.
You can have a tournament with 50 people, I believe, is the cap. So you can set up a huge tournament.
Well, then
and
we
play
have
that
to
way.
play like 1-on-1, or is that not how it works?
Yeah, you can't play like 8 simultaneously like you can the other way. So what you could do is set up you can actually do 2 is you could set up a tournament and say, hey, during all day Wednesday, come in and play at some point during the tournament or whatever, and then on Friday you could say we're gonna hook up and play all at the same time
Okay, like the winners.
or something. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Well, we'll put we got to figure out how many people are going to do it, because
Right.
obviously we'd like to all be in one thing, but then that only opens it up to 6 readers. Whereas
Yeah.
if you and I each hosted a room from the office, we could have this many.
That's probably what I would suggest you do, because the games don't take all that long.
Yeah.
Is you guys should play each separate games.
9 holes.
So you have 14 readers going between each of the two. No, you can play a full 18. It won't take that long.
Okay.
Takes you less than an hour. And then it takes you maybe, half an hour, I think, No, maybe like 45 minutes.
Well, I'm not watching their progress, right? I mean, we're just all
Yeah,
golfing.
you go at the same time. You have to wait till everybody finishes, but there's a time limit. But anyway, and then once you're done, you take the top 3 readers from each thing to go into the essentially finals against the 2 of you.
It's not a bad idea.
I say you do it that way.
All right, good idea.
I'm gonna get hungry though that night.
Hey, can
It's
we
gonna be
expense
6:30.
Extreme Pizza?
I think that brings us to the end of the show.
It's a song time.
Thank you.
Of course, everyone knows that I wear a black armband in these periods of time because Jeff isn't here.
Oh, speaking of which, can we just do a meow for Jeff and his name?
You already know he is dying of some kind of unnamed
Everybody keeps saying that he's
Australian
dying.
lung disease.
Actually, I think he was dying, but now he's being reborn. So
Well,
it's going to be Jeff 2.0
this song
when he
was
returns.
written in him dying.
Okay.
It is, of course, Every Breath You Take by the Police.
Jeff 2.0. Would his voice like echo like the Protoss when he talked? Then he'd be
I
like,
don't know.
meow, 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 meow.
That's great.
That would be awesome, actually. All right. Every breath you struggle to take, every move you refuse to make, because he's bedridden. Every podcast you skip, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You beyond with me. Now my poor heart aches with every measure you take.
Oh man, don't man lie.
Since you've gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can see
All right, that's the,
break your face. I look
show.
around
We'll see you guys next week for next week will be episode 40. So that's a number.
We'll
see you guys
Oh
then.
man.
I keep
Peace out.
crying, Jeffy, Jeffy.